I'd like to thank Blue Land for sponsoring this video. Here is a fast and easy quilt that will blow your mind. It's made up of just one block called the potato chip, and value does all the heavy lifting. You can use either your stash or your scraps, and there's practically no wastage, so it ticks all the boxes. And there's a free pattern download at the end. So stick with me and I'll show you how to do it. Hi, I'm Karen Brown of Just Get It Done Quilts. I give you tips, tricks, and strategies to help you make the quilt that you want to make. And if you like what you see, please click that subscribe button. I have been on an adventure with the potato chip block. That is a piece that measures 2.5 inches by 4.5 inches, and it finishes at 2 inches by 4 inches, which means it's twice as wide as it is tall. And when you put two of them together, it makes a block that is 4 inches by 4 inches. I have already designed 2 Stashbusters with this easy block. And one day I was on the Pre-Quilt app playing with this block, trying out various layouts and experimenting with colors and value. And I was so excited when I came up with this layout. It's just a 1-block quilt, and it comes together so easily, you'll want to make more than one. The magic in this quilt is all about value. That is, in every single block, you'll need strong contrast with a dark on one side and a light on the other. And you can check if you have enough contrast by pulling out your phone and looking at them through the camera app, and then turn the settings to black and white. For this cuddle quilt layout, I want it to rainbow the colors, so it needs both a light and dark version of 8 colors. So it starts with this violet and moves through the spectrum to this raspberry. You might have noticed that this yellow is a bit more chartreuse than butter. That's just because it's really hard to get a dark yellow that's still bright. For each color, you'll need a width of fabric strip of yardage 7.5 inches wide, which is just under 1/4 yard. If you rather use fat quarters, you'll need 8 dark fat quarters and 8 light. If you want to work with jelly roll strips, you'll need 24 strips of dark and 24 strips of light. And if you just want to pull from your scraps, you'll need 192 dark potato chips and you'll need 192 light potato chips. And before you cut, you'll want to give them a good press. We are making 2.5 inch strips. If you're cutting from yardage like I am, you'll need 3 strips each of the 8 dark colors and 3 strips each of the light colors. Remember, to cut your strips straight, you need to align the fold of your fabric perpendicular to the lines on your cutting mat. Then align your ruler with the fold and make your cuts. It works every time. If you are using fat quarters, you need to cut 6 strips of each. Pair up your light and dark strips. Now you may find some of your lights translucent. I did a whole video about the challenges of working with light fabrics. And one of the things to watch for is this dark color showing through when you press to the light side, which we'll often need to do in this quilt to make the seams nest nicely. So when we pair our fabrics, we want to shift the light fabric over ever so slightly to prevent that shadow. We are sewing at 1/4 inch, and I am using my masking tape ledge to help me sew straight. And now is a good time to put on a podcast, as we are chain piecing them all at once. We are going to press half of the strips to the dark side, and we're going to press the other half to the light. So if you're using 3 strips like I am, 1 strip is pressed to the dark, the other is pressed to the light, and the last strip is half and half. Yes, you could cut this strip in half to make it easier, but I didn't, and I'll show you why a bit later. Now take your ruler. A 4.5 inch square is great for this job, but a larger square ruler will work too. Take some masking or washi tape and stack 3 to 4 pieces to make a ledge. Then we are going to place this ledge on the back of the ruler just below the 2.25 inch mark. Next, we are cutting our fabric strips into 24 blocks using the ledge on our ruler as a guide. I like using my 28mm rotary cutter here, so I use less shoulder when I cut. You'll cut 12 blocks with the fabrics pressed to the dark and 12 that are pressed to the light. Now repeat with all the colored strip sets. And keep the leftovers close because you can use them either in your... Before we go to the next step, let me tell you about Blueland. Blueland is all about the tablet. Though it's only the size of a bobbin, it can clean this, this, and more with no single-use plastics or wrappers. And they are just so simple to use. Just drop one of these into your toilet bowl. With a couple of brush strokes, it removes rust stains and mineral buildup. Toss this one into your washing machine to get out even the toughest stains. Snap this one into your dishwasher to attack baked-on stains without the need for a rinse agent. I like that they come in these attractive tins, so I can keep them where I use them, which means they are easy to access when I need them. More importantly, they're easy for others to access as well. So all the cleaning chores are not on me. All the Blueland packaging is totally compostable. And I like to upcycle these shipping boxes for my sewing projects. All you have to do is click on my link below or scan the QR code here on the screen to get 15% off your first kit. We are going to work 2 colors at a time, starting at the top of the quilt. Divide your 12 blocks into 3 sets of 4, pressed to the dark, and the other 12 into 3 sets of 4, pressed to the light. First, take a set of the pressed to the dark and spin the blocks with the light colors in the middle this way. Then take a set of the pressed to the light and spin them the opposite way. Then from the next color, take a set of the pressed to the light and spin them this way. Then take a set of the pressed to the darks and spin them the other way. Here's that layout again. It's really important that you lay down the blocks in this order so that everything nests perfectly. Trust me, it will all work in the end, but you have to get this right. We will sew them in pairs like this. Rows 1 and 3 we will press to the right. Rows 2 and 4 we will press to the left. We have 3 layers here as we're making 3 separate blocks. And I chose to work the stack at one time. That means I sewed the 3 at the same time, then I pressed the 3 at the same time. Then repeat with the next color. Then we will sew the pairs together. Then press rows 1 and 3 to the right and 2 and 4 to the left. Be sure to take a moment in between stages to be sure that your blocks are oriented in the right direction. Next, we're going to sew 1 to 2 and 3 to 4, and then 1 and 2 to 3 and 4. And this is the finished block. And you can see how nicely everything's beginning to nest. And we're going to make 3 of these. On the outside blocks, we're going to press our rows down. In the middle set, we're going to press our seams up. Then sew block 1 to block 2, then to block 3, and press your seams to the right. Now we're going to repeat these steps with the next 2 colors for rows 5 to 8. We're going to follow the exact same pressing instructions, with the exception of the very last step. Here we are going to press to the left. Then repeat all these steps for the 4 colors on the bottom, rows 9 to 16. And finally, we're going to sew all 4 sections together. I'll be honest, even though it's fairly easy to put all these blocks together, you have to pay attention, as the layout in the blocks for rows number 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all different. And I swear they took every opportunity to spin and flip when I wasn't looking. So I placed a pin in the top left corner so I could be oriented while I worked these blocks. You will also find it a good practice to have these pressing instructions in front of you as you sew the blocks together to refer to when in doubt. You might have noticed that I laid out my blocks with the right side facing down. This was so I could clearly see when and what direction my blocks needed to be pressed to. If you prefer to work with your blocks facing up, the pressing guide will still work, but you need to be consistent. The pressing guide only works if you press all the blocks from the same side. And the quilt should finish at 48 inches by 64. I might have a new favorite pattern here. It was such a joy to make from the start to the finish. There's no doubt that these bright colors made me happy. And I can see myself making many more versions of this quilt in my future. So what do you think? Are you going to give it a try? Let me know down in the comments what colors you want to use. Now you can download your own copy of the pattern on my website at justgetitdonequilts.com under Patterns and Downloads. There are additional layouts for baby, twin, queen, and king. And you can test out your own colors on my coloring page on the Pre-Quilt app. This is my 14th in my Stashbuster series. If you want to check out the other 13, there's a link here to the playlist. They're fast, easy, and fat quarter friendly. Take care, and I'll see you next time.